Good morning, good morning, good morning. Merry stupid o'clock to one and all. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels, and I am having one of my legendary mornings where I'm stuck in fog bearing and I am angry at air. So, if I get a little out of hand this morning, my apologies to everyone in advance. Now, folks, we are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we get started this morning, just a few of the usual disclaimers. You're going to find this train wreck of a PR stunt report right there in the description box, alongside the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including that Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject matter, the templates. Fill out your name, click on your senator. Takes 2 minutes. Come on, folks. Let's take 2 minutes out of our busy schedules to end adversive treatments and improper restraints in schools, all right? Also, the ever-present change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. Now, folks, speaking of, when we are talking about the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of, as well as see clips from video surveillance footage of, peoples with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you have young children present, please, at the very least, use your headphones. Also, folks, as I said, it is stupid o'clock. 3:17 a.m. in the morning. Nobody should be up at this hour. I'm suffering from severe autistic fog brain, and for some reason I can't explain, my temper is like on a hair trigger right now. Like, see that cute little meow back there? Usually doesn't bother me. It's adorable. Right now, it's annoying me to death. So, if I stumble over any words, go off on a rant, or stare off into space, my apologies in advance. Now, back to where we left off yesterday, staff independent judgment. Now, folks, don't forget to roll your shoulders back, loosen up your neck a little. We're in for some stupid, apparently, this morning. Summary of findings. Oh, God, here we go. Make sure you have your requisite calm down tea whenever we go on these. Alright, JRC's development of the good judgment policy and training has been a critical step in ensuring that an event like the August 2007 incident does not happen again. Oh, for fuck's sake, here we go with the good judgment shit again. Judge. If one is using good judgment, if they are using critical thinking skills and common sense, why in the hell would they be working for the JRC? You wouldn't be. You wouldn't be. I'm just saying. Anyone who has good judgment, critical thinking skills, and common sense would see their treatment plan for what it is: court-sanctioned torture over a vulnerable population, with a treatment plan that people won't even deem humane for pedophiles. Let that sink in for you. What is it, Mr. Mew? What? What? See what I mean? Hypersensitive everything. Back to the topic at hand. Good judgment won't stop a situation from August 2007 from happening, Judge. What you mean by good judgment, for those who have problems peeking behind the curtain, is how to keep an incident like August 2007 from getting out, or how to paint it with a professional facade to try and make the outside world more comfortable with it. Let's be honest here. Staff at JRC are instructed from their first day of training that questions and concerns are welcome, and that questioning a directive or an aspect of a student's program is encouraged. Is it? Because earlier in the report, Judge, you say the opposite. Oh, wait, that's right. If you're staff, you can question it. If you're a parent, you can question it. If you are a court appointed guardian, you can question it. But if you're the student being forced to go through the torture, you're not allowed to question it. Gotcha. Further, employees are told that if they fail to report behavior that is against JRC policies, disciplinary action will be taken against them. Now remember, they literally have as against their policies as an infraction chewing gum while on shift. Of all things that these people do on their day-to-day shifts, I really think that chewing gum is the very least of their problems. Just saying. It is clear based on interviews with both direct care staff and JRC administrators that there has been a change in culture at JRC since August 2007 regards to reporting issues and raising questions. Has there, Judge? Has there really? Because Greg Miller came out in 2012. We're talking a solid year before this report came. After this report came out, you remember Greg Miller, don't you? The whistleblower you all hate. And when he raised questions, he was fired. Administration from Human Resources, Regulations, and Compliance Training, and interim executive director all reported receiving significantly more reports and questions from staff members since the good judgment policy was enacted. Really? Really? And I wonder what smoke you blow up their ass to make them believe this is all acceptable. Smokes and mirrors, folks, smokes and mirrors. Currently, there is no independent, neutral individual whom staff can direct questions or concerns to in confidence. Why am I not surprised? I've been saying it all along. Nobody from the outside that the JRC doesn't approve of. And who checks in with staff members periodically. It is positive that employees are encouraged, beginning in basic training, to report any questionable behavior by other staff members to various JRC administrators. New staff are provided with cards containing phone numbers and contact information for administrators who should receive these reports. And these administrators meet with new staff during basic training to encourage staff to raise questions or concerns without fear of being unfairly evaluated. Is that true? Tell that to Gregory Miller. And by the way, folks, this is all smoke and mirrors. Read in between the lines. Read what they're not saying, not what they are actually saying. What I mean by that, they are encouraging a tattletale culture, which puts employees in fear constantly of losing their jobs, which doesn't make it less likely for an incident like August 2007 to happen. It makes it that much more likely. Just saying. Staff are also able to report inappropriate behaviors of or raise concerns about other staff members anonymously through both email and a dedicated phone line for anonymous calls. Again, that just clarifies what I just said. It encourages a tattletale culture, which means staff are in constant paranoia, constant anxiety, and constant irritation, never knowing who's watching you. Think about it. If they are supposed to pinpoint every single behavior, yeah, think on it. Certain JRC administrators, the executive director, director of human resources, and the director of student services, receive these anonymous reports. It is the monitor's belief that a further step is necessary. You're not getting it, Judge. You're really not getting it. Recommendations. And look at that, folks. We're almost done with this insanity. Although JRC makes genuine and serious ongoing efforts to encourage staff and students to raise questions and concerns with administrative staff, oh God, please. That's a lie. That is completely a lie. They do not encourage students to raise questions. What do? Every time a student raises a question, they dismiss it and say, but it's a part of your plan, so. Mm hmm. That's a lie. And concerns with administrative staff. Employing a neutral and independent ombudsman that the staff can report to and who can report to staff will help ensure that even the most hesitant of staff and residents would report any questionable behavior. I wonder if they would have the balls to do that. Because anybody that you pick that is outside of this corruption, that does not have anything to gain by supporting the JRC, who have no ties, family wise, politically, through judges, through legislator, nothing. If you just sent in an ordinary Joe with nothing to gain, I think, yeah, just saying. There should be a person at JRC other than the administration and the off duty law enforcement officer who would be independently available to staff and residents to receive questions and reports in confidence to ensure individuals are comfortable speaking up. If they brought that person in, I would want that person to not have spoke to the JRC administrators beforehand. I would want to make sure there are no threats against that person. I would want to make sure that they were not bought and paid for by the JRC, like you judge. I'm going to make sure that, hell, let's bring in somebody from my state. You know what? Let's bring somebody out of Missouri that's not a moron. Somebody that works with experience with our day programs, our group homes, all the programs that we have out here. Maybe even somebody from our ARC, from the ARC of St. Louis, Kansas City, hell, even Springfield. As backward as some of the services are out here, why not? Why not? Somebody that absolutely has nothing to gain, but also cannot be bribed. That would be something I'd be interested in saying. Such a person need not be full-time or work in-house at JRC. The details of his or her duties, expectations, hours, and the like can certainly be discussed and worked out. More importantly to this monitor is the importance of the position. Oh, see, Judge, you already bombed down your own idea because they would still be on the JRC's payroll. As long as they're dependent on the JRC, their opinion cannot be unbiased. You see what I'm saying there? Just saying. So you started with a good idea, Judge, but then this idea that the JRC will pay them and you don't see the conflict of interest. There is conflict of interest riddled throughout the entirety of this whole goddamn report. And you refuse to see it time and time again. Alright, folks, I know this is going to be a short video, but we're going to go ahead and round it up for this morning. So what did we learn this morning? The judge, he wants to throw up more smokes and mirrors for us. He wants us to believe that this is a great, all inclusive environment where students and staff are encouraged to raise questions. Of course, the students can't question anything in their plan, God forbid, they stand up for their own human rights, but at least the staff and the administrators are allowed to. Hmm. But read in between the lines. Remember, how high is that turnover rate? And again, I wonder how many in that turnover rate, higher than any call center I have ever worked for, and I've worked for some doozies. How many of them questioned exactly what they were doing at this school? It also promotes a tattletale culture where staff is tattled on constantly for the smallest of infractions, including chewing gum while on staff, which, quite personally, I think is the very least of their problems. So, the judge is trying to paint this facade of everything is professional, above board, and most of all, again, trying to make us comfortable with this idea of the type of treatment that they have here, that it is necessary, that these kids are the worst of the worst, and this is the only thing that's going to work for them. Why? He appeals to authority. Not just his authority, but the so called professionals at the school's authority, with not even thinking about the massive conflict of interest that is at the very heart of this report. This judge, doing all these findings and doing all of these reviews, do not forget, is being paid by the school to do so, which makes this entire report meaningless because it is a massive conflict of interest, which makes every single one of his findings biased in the favor of the folks who are paying them to put this together in the first place. And on that note, folks, I'm going to go ahead and close out for this morning. Now, we don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning, and as always, we here at Smelling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.